Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to 5 Things We Learned, the show where I'm going to be going through the key talking points from what we learn in each England game, starting with today's 6-2 win against Iran to get the World Cup campaign off to a successful start and Gareth Southgate's boys taking early control of Group B. But before I get into it, guys, please make sure you smash the likes on the video and subscribe to the channel, edging ever closer to 2,000 subscribers. So every new subscriber helps. So please do click that subscribe button, run those likes up. And of course, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with me? And can England win the World Cup? But right, let's get straight into it now, though. First talking point for me, the system. England lined up with a 4-3-3 system today, but predominantly they've gone with a 3-4-3 under Gareth Southgate throughout his reign, as we saw at the last World Cup and as we saw at the Euros as well. And the build-up was kind of dominated by, are we going to see England revert to a 4-3-3 given Kyle Walker's fitness issues, given the fact that Harry Maguire's not been playing for Manchester United, given the fact that the 4-3-3 allows more license to attack, allows us to get an extra man in the middle of the park, control things a bit more. And we saw how effective that 4-3-3 system can be today. I mean, this is how England lined up, though. As you can see, we had obviously a back four, Rice sitting at the base of that midfield with Mount and Bellingham as a number 8. And this system, it really allowed Bellingham to excel against a largely passive opposition in Iran. He was able to break forward. He often found himself in the box, as he did for that first goal. He was kind of a free number 8. He was able to link play nicely. We saw him, spraying balls out to Trippier, particularly for that first goal before his cross went in. And it really allowed, Bellingham to excel. It allowed Mason Mount to excel in what is many believe to be his best position, what he believes to be his best position. It allowed us to look a lot more, clinical in attack and, get a lot more men in the box as well. There are times where we had sort of 4, 5, 6 players in the box because of this system, whereas normally Southgate's known for being pragmatic. He's known for being kind of safety first, playing with the handbrake on. In this game, he went for it, and credit where it's due. He went for it. He went with an attacking lineup. He went with kind of 2 attacking players in the centre of the park as well, in Mason Mount and Jude Bellingham, and it really paid off. And I think for me, I hope this is just not game specific. And it's going to be really interesting to see what Southgate does when Kyle Walker gets back to fitness. Does he just replace Kieran Trippier, who is a favourite of his, with Kyle Walker at right back? Does Walker even get back into the side, or does Southgate revert to type? And does he go with Maguire, and does he go with Maguire, Stones and Walker in that back three that did so well and got us to that Euros final? He's a big fan of Kieran Trippier. I can't see him dropping him, so it'll be really interesting to see what he does. The next game against the US is on Friday. Win that, and we've qualified from the group, and with the goal difference as well from today's win, that's pretty much top spot guaranteed. So there'll be a chance to experiment in that third game, but it's going to be really interesting to see what he does do, because he'll be so tempted to put Kyle Walker back in, revert back to a 3 and go with what he knows. But this system, I think, showed real promising signs, and it really got the best out of England. They got the best out of the talented players that we have at our disposal. It allowed the likes of Mason Mount and Jude Bellingham to play between the lines, pick up difficult positions for Iran to deal with, and almost gave particularly Bellingham just like a free role, just to kind of push forward, get around the final third, as well as doing good work in the middle of the park as well. So yeah, I think that really suited England. The balance is really nice in that middle, and from a Chelsea fan's perspective, the mouth waters at the possibility of that being Chelsea's midfield next season as well. Because, I mean, what's a midfield that is? And if they can continue to perform like that, then England can go very deep into this competition. But yeah, the 4-3-3, I thought, suited it really well. And, I just hope that Southgate sticks with it and doesn't revert back to type when Kyle Walker gets himself fully fit again. And it's going to be really interesting to see what he does. I mean, it's good to have that tactical fluidity and that flexibility to switch between a 3 and a 4. But I think with the players at the disposal, I really do believe that this system should stay, and it should definitely stay for the next game. Whether you want to go slightly more defensive against slightly better opposition as we get deeper into the tournament is a different situation. But that's the best football that England have played in so long, particularly that first hour, first 60, 70 minutes until the first substitutions were made. I thought England looked really good, played some fantastic football. A lot of that was down to the system. I know Iran weren't great, but you still got to play what you're up against, and the combination plays between the likes of Bellingham and Sterling and Saka and Trippier and Luke Shaw getting involved as well. It was really promising. So I really do hope that is here to stay. But it is going to be fascinating to see what Gareth Southgate does do in games going forward, and whether he switches it up for the US on Friday. Obviously, it's going to be the strongest opposition in the group, or does he kind of keep his nerve, as it were? And why would you change a team that's just put 6 goals past Iran in the opening game? So hopefully he sticks with it. But that's going to be a really interesting point. Moving on to my second point is kind of is the form of Bukayo Saka. Obviously, at the Euros, missed a penalty in the final, received disgusting racist abuse online. It was a really difficult time for him. And, he's kind of bounced back. He's had a really good start for the season for Arsenal. He's been really impressive in their run to being top of the table, 5 points clear heading into this World Cup. And, heading into the tournament, that the England team pretty much picked itself. But that right-hand side really was the only area where there was kind of a debate. Would it be Saka? Would he play Foden there? Would he put Rashford? Would he put Jack Grealish? There's so many options there that he could have gone with. And he gave Bukayo Saka the nod today. And he repaid the faith, in the best way possible. 2 great goals. A constant thorn in the side of the Iran defense. He direct on the ball, takes players on, gets past a man, good deliveries into the box, great finishing, particularly for that first goal. And, I think realistically, I really do think now he's actually cemented his place in the England side on that right-hand side. That's his spot to lose. A lot of people, myself included, questioning perhaps why Phil Foden wasn't starting this game. And, we know Foden, talent, technique-wise, is a better footballer than Bukayo Saka. But ultimately, it's not really happened for Foden so far in an England shirt. And that's going to be, a test for Southgate to try and get the best out of Foden, who is an unbelievably talented footballer. But it's not quite happened for him in an England shirt. But for Saka, a real breakthrough moment today. His first World Cup, becomes the youngest English player to score 2 goals in a game in a World Cup. And in doing so, has now scored more World Cup goals than Wayne Rooney. And I think, he's going to be really important on that right-hand side for England. And I think this performance would have cemented him as the starter on that right-hand side for Gareth Southgate. So it was really promising. And if he can keep that form going, then he's going to be a major asset for England. England could go deep into this competition with his skill set and what he offers to the side. Moving on to my next point, Jude Bellingham, absolutely outstanding. What a player. What a midfielder. First World Cup for him as well. Still only 19 years old. We've seen what he can do, though. He's already captain Borussia Dortmund. He's been outstanding in the Champions League this season. He's been scoring goals in the Bundesliga. Already really the leader of that Borussia Dortmund side. But it's not quite happened for him in an England shirt yet. My worry was that, once Calvin Phillips got himself fit, that Southgate would perhaps revert to type go of that Rice-Phillips pivot in there that served him so well in the Euros, and Bellingham being a bit of an unknown quantity in an England shirt and at a major tournament. But I know it's only one game, but he was utterly superb today. I'm just going to bring his numbers up on screen now. He was outstanding. He defied his years. Let's just get Jude Bellingham's numbers up from today. 113 touches, 100% of his dribbles completed, 97% pass accuracy, 92 passes completed. He won 6 out of his 8 ground duels, won all his tackles, 1 key pass, and 1 goal. It was a stunning performance from Jude today, and it just goes to show what he can offer to that midfield, what he can offer to England, particularly when you've got Rice sitting at the base and Mount doing a lot of that off the ball work. Setting the tempo for the press, it allows Bellingham to have almost that free role, and he really excelled in that. He's got both sides of the game locked down. His range of passing superb, how he arrives in the opposition box, how he's got a knack for a goal. He really is kind of the all-round complete midfield player, and that midfield 3 with Mount one side of him, Declan Rice at the base, really complements him. It provides him with the perfect kind of support behind him, the perfect work rate next to him in Mason Mount. And, it's scary what Bellingham could do in this tournament. He's definitely added a few extra pounds to his price tag from that performance. He could be a real breakout performer in this World Cup. But for England, it's a massive, massive plus to have someone in there in that midfield with his skill set. And he can bring so much to the team that has been missing in previous England sides. He can provide that link between midfield and attack. He can pop up in the box, something that a Declan Rice and a Calvin Phillips aren't really going to do. But yeah, for me, superb from Jude Bellingham, and he absolutely has to start every England game now. He has cemented his place in that England team, and he's going to be vital in this World Cup, and he's going to be vital for years to come going forward. I wanted to come on to my fourth point now, Mason Mount. Now, kind of his performance probably has gone a little bit under the radar. He won't be grabbing the headlines like Saka, like Bellingham, but his performance today was superb, and he fully repaid the faith shown in him by Gareth Southgate. We've seen Mason Mount as a Chelsea fan. I've watched a lot of him this season, been to a lot of games, and he's been really disappointing. He's not had a good season at all, but being deployed on the left-hand side of this 4-3-3 formation in that number 8 role, a slightly deeper role, which I believe he's much better in, which he said is his preferred position. He excelled today. We saw him earlier in the season against Wolves, put in a fantastic display in that similar position. And he did exactly the same today for England. You know, the way that he sets a tempo for the press, the amount of ground that he covers. For me, his ability on the half turn is second to none. You really won't see many, if any, better players than Mason Mount at playing on the half turn. His range of passing was good today. He got around the pitch a lot. He was breaking play up. That was a really good all-round Mason Mount performance, and you could see exactly what he brings to this team and why so many managers keep picking him, because this is what he can offer. And obviously, from a Chelsea perspective, I want to see more of it in a Chelsea shirt. But for England and for Gareth Southgate, you know, he's a perfect Gareth Southgate player. He works hard. He's good on the ball, and you know, and he adds a lot to this England team. He really, you know, the press is set by him, as I said, and you know, the positions he picks up in between the lines, and having an extra man in there allows England not to get overrun in midfield, allows them to have a bit more control of the middle of the park, and to get a bit more creativity in there as well. I thought he was utterly superb, particularly in that first half. And I'm just going to bring his first half numbers up now because I thought he was absolutely outstanding. Let me see if I can find it. No, I haven't got it, but yeah. Mount's first half numbers were superb, and it was a really promising performance. I really do think that if we're going with this system to continue, then there's no one better positioned to do what he does in an England team in that left-hand side of a midfield three. Calvin Phillips is not doing that. Jordan Henderson's not doing that. And he fully proved his worth to the side. I think he silenced a lot of critics with that performance today. And I just wanted to move on to my final point is the importance of the bench, the importance of the squad. You know, it's a big squad. England have got a lot of talented players, the likes of, you know, Rashford, Grealish, Foden, to name a few on the bench. And the bench is going to be really important, you know, as we get further into the tournament, as, you know, you get deeper into games, you get towards the end of the game. If you're struggling, you need a goal or you need to unlock a defence, then England have got great options and great quality in depth to make a difference. And with goals from Rashford and Grealish off the bench today, I think the importance of England's strength in depth was really highlighted there. That, you know, if things aren't going well, then they have got real qualities to call upon that can make a big difference. And I think as you progress further into the tournament, you get to the latter stages, that can be the difference between going through and going out, is what you can bring off the bench, what quality you've got from the bench, and what, you know, match winners that you've got from the bench. And the likes of Grealish and the likes of Marcus Rashford, Phil Foden, even Callum Wilson to an extent, you know, all offering something different that, you know, can be really important when you're chasing a game or you need to switch something up in a game of football. And to have those options is going to be so important to England. I think it's going to really have reaffirmed to Gareth Southgate that, you know, he can rely on everyone. He can rely on most members of this squad. And they're going to play a really important role, because you can get goals off the bench and get everyone contributing. Then it's a massive plus for you. I know I've already done 5. I just wanted to throw one more in very briefly. Harry Maguire. A lot of people criticising his inclusion in the squad. He's not had a good season for Man United. He's barely played, but for England and in an England shirt, he has done really well. He's not really ever let Gareth Southgate down. And today I thought he had a really good performance. You know, he obviously went off feeling ill, he said, in the second half. I thought it was a concussion, but he was feeling ill. But yeah, he had a good game. I thought he was solid. He defended well. He was a threat from set pieces. And, you know, it was a timely return to form for him. That will really boost his confidence. And whatever people think, Maguire is an important player for England. So to see him doing well was obviously a big plus for him, a big plus for England, and a big plus for Southgate as well, because he's shown a lot of faith in him when others perhaps wouldn't have shown so much. But yeah, guys, those are my 5/6 things that we learned from England's 6-2 win against Iran. As I said at the start of the video, please smash the likes on the video. Please subscribe to the channel and leave your thoughts in the comments below. And I'll catch you again soon.